hello from Darian, and yes, oh yeah, I was watching this, but I can't even like that's pretty compressed to what I'm worth. I might have to put some into advertisement to know that. All right, so pretty much hello, and I don't have like anything to focus on what I'm talking about. Pretty much, I'm gonna show what I'm working on is the Sapphire server and how the Ruby server in Metaphor is like bad, and so when I'm talking, that we don't get confused. So the Sapphire is about keeping like maintaining, being healthy, being able to continue, and making sure your DTI is good. So making sure we got a good one and that those ones aren't aggregator. Keep it down with that mouse. Okay. All right. And then some of the ways that I feel makes it better is that having the rain meter. This effect is rain meter. So I'm really been not trying my best to disclose. Not that like I guess if I'm looking for my mirror like a rival to really create that challenge for what that is. That kind of enters into an abacus of whatever. But we got the sandbox alpha, not that key, and I was like, man, the silks.io felt so clean. I was like, oh, it's $1,000 horse that you have to. It's gated well because it goes into a vault. Dang. Okay, that's a good one. I can't even look at that thing. Close the door on Interactive Broker and then re-entered with Quant Connect. My my algorithm was pretty good. I got a 75th percentile on my Quant Connect score. So Quant Connect should have a button like this is we're kind of overwhelmed with all the junk on our stuff right here, and I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. So each one of these represents like a different thing. Uh, so for each thing, then you click on it, it's different stuff. So if we click on this, so when I'm doing something, there's one. So let's say if we don't want to release something at a rate that we do later on, then that's how I'll go about it. Some lovely people. That one, I think I saw Kate Witcher playing that, and then I was like, is that Eevee.io? But nah, it was, I think it was Overwatch. So some really good stencils right here, but I just don't know if, since I tried to get the PYBI for the individual GitHubs, and I copied it word for word, so I think I'm gated at this point, or somebody pulled some funny stuff. I was like, wow, that's ridiculous. What if the same issue that I'm having is the same reason that the people that I want don't want to do that? If the Google switch made it difficult for the financial advisors to create their like forward active algorithm. So sometimes we'll contrive what we like to say about ourselves and we don't like that, and that's why we use the different colors to think about what is important. Oh, especially with the neighborhood and how he just like designed it to be like way better with just shapes. Yeah, definitely agree with myself right there. Totally. What you wouldn't really go like that. We got some good things. That's immutables, Gods Unchained, the audio splitter for your thing. That you should have. Like I said, I got frustrated. This camera. Somebody thought they were the best optic. How could you be an optic technician for the standard of needing one to not be good at it? That's not good. To know about it or whatever. I don't know what I'm lying about today. That's how it is. The water clones, if so, is how these things are created. So you go to the images inside of the documents, a light tutorial. And then skins, and it's not the vault. It's honeycomb at resources. So the at images, image name at images. Man, that thing is a radar because it could get into the images if you know the slash. Ringing slash or dude, seriously, like all these people think that they're like at the set off, like they don't got like a show, like a car show, so then people who are like random don't have that, and this person almost got protect on the job, almost. Like I couldn't even shut my mouth. It was more patient than me, but I was like, wow, oh well, I know how to do this purely with shapes. Like triangles, squares, ovals. People think that they're like octagons. Okay. Is a pentagon a shape or is that thing? Yeah, it's called a pentagon. Hexagon. Okay. Off the subject of what you're saying. So let's say if we got to this part and then we said, wow, we're talking too much. Then we create this thing, which is a bracket. And then if you wanted to flat it or this or an uptrend like that, that's kind of a way to be like, or you could be a jerk and then be kind of like this, or you could trick somebody and then okay, go like that and then flat it and then kind of attempt to do a bracket. So this is kind of like my momentum theory on how to use. It's like a code. I know things are unorganized. That's why when I was talking previously, that so when we're doing discovery or learning mode, that we're gonna use this, and this having different formulas to be able to do something, it's good because for whatever reason the contrast of having different programming servers. So Python right here. So python.org at this location, and then having .ini. So that contrasts with what they could be working on and stuff. I like this one. Is there anything any person is looking to learn or so basically I was working on how do I make like the Dark Knight of my character able to be alright with horsemen. So I looked at all the different stuff and I was like, what are the real identities of the things that we feel? I feel like it was way more about how how I needed it to be more like okay, it's kind of silly, but like more like a horseman, and that I did successfully knight the area, and that is like saying by yourself, hopefully, except it is by myself, and that is what I like about myself. My grading, even if someone is different. I don't want the grading. I don't want the grading to get infected. By energy transfer. So I make sure that actions associated to me are not aggregating theoretical identity. Theoretical is like pressing a button that says 0 on it, and let's clear this area of that, and it's pressing 1, and the authority of the 1 is counted as a 0. So injustice. And you could be like, why did you just copy? So then you could do something like bracket, or like if somebody were to do something like this, then that assumes that they were already trying to do that, or this, flat, dot, and then bracket, and then see at the root that they're trying to say that, and then flat what they're trying to say, and wow, and then try to bracket that again, and then we'd identify it as propaganda, and then we will do what is a downtrend, and then on that, and then hopefully, you know, somebody who just keeps speaking. So pretty much the contamination of that code is right at that point, and that's not really how we would do that. So we could float. This is my version of doing what's relevant to what's in front of me and what actually works. Else, why would I be theoretically contriving what you don't do that I seek? Mr. Silko. That's what he's like. He's funny. So we could save that if you want to look at that later. So save as, what would you like to name it? And this is like a good healing way. So it's like a technician. What do you like to call it? Just note. So I'm gonna just write note card until you want to name it. Put med T, ick, like, alright, there we go. Alright, now I know that that's there, and maybe if somebody had like the curiosity or really felt it was for the correct place of what something was saying, then we made a little card right there for the .ini server. So it could just go right there, and we had to make our office more open office after having a whole bunch of stuff. That's okay. So the water clone. So pretty much I know it's like we always talk and it's like you get trapped into the meta world and it's like, I'm so minute, I'm never coming back. So it's not something that I blame people for existing. I'm not like misjudging the advantageous, but even if it's like that I'm trying to learn how to collect back my neurodes, which are the modems in the mind that send transmitters to that. That's the idea. So if blockchain has the standard of health attached to this, there's a thing that has these gateways of what is doing it. It's not fast, it is slow, it is experienced. I like that one the best. But I don't understand why some of these like things that are themselves are a bit excited or what. So let's take a look back, and I was working on a design, so later, okay, this is a good like, so we open this again, open it, and let's say this one, Transformer inspired. Okay. We type in Transformer inspired, and that says, I was like, hey, dude, shout out to the person that I saw that was on the newspaper about something about the art they did. I can sense the artist is over there because they got some kind of trick, like me, somewhat. Everyone has their own style. Transformer inspired. I came into contact with this clicker vehicle object thing that took possession of the standard of my vehicle. At first, I felt threatened. Not like that anymore after getting along with each other. It beeps and picks on you and has a super wide range, like estimate like 30 miles corded to the desires that it wants. I call it the Ramen Shop truck. Ramen truck. Or Ramenson. So it's like a name like that. it's like the depictions of it is that it has an actual inspiration. It's a secret Easter egg creature, transformer. Then I have like an it's really cool. So pretty much it's like a telephone pole creature, like not an ice cream truck, ramen truck, a technician truck, and it has orange eyes, has eyes that seep into yours unoffensively, but will seek mutual attention and then sync up. A cool, approved. Oh, it changed. It changed. See, so maybe it found that an application, and it says you assume that. So then it wants like something like, I want the injustice to be an applicable. It wants to be like, it wants a technician field of like blockchain or command, like chronological command prompt junction rhetorical. Some had escaped. Had a bad attitude, or fell in love, and now in hate and injustice. Oh yeah, happy Mother's Day. Just overall, I was like, should I? Nah, I'm too into Technics that I kind of have to salvage some of the parts. Which the story of what my data collection is in referral to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and I don't really use OS as much as a reference. In more like pay to E rehabilitation. Lighter stuff to prepare for our in between build of what? Not like very knight, but was not a paladin, like facaded a AXE character we named was Hope, and my success rate with them is pretty good. Still living. So they have the story of, I was in a flower shop, I had injustice. My parents had said this, and they're really our rival, and that, I'm healthy, I'm purebred, or run into no concerns. They have things like flower shops, and the horseman is like almost like a centaur, as well as centaur maybe. And when we feel we say too much, or i.e. inappropriate, then we can seal the idea into a card that we like in our story. So there are possible fixes in a regulated login room. Once logged in, obligated to these, not like forward to these features, like that, obligated to. Then it'd be like choice, and then you would probably get like something dysemic, so you'd have to do something like that. And then then you gotta do something. And then the concept of what it reads, it can't see it, you know what I mean? It can't be like a concept, like there's a different domain for, because that looks like a smiley face, or it doesn't like to read the emoji. So and then it just wants something like, just some random, not too obvious, well orchestrated seal. So then you just seal that, and very cool. So that's kind of my idea of what I wanted. Something like that. That kind of reverses what that. The optometric symbol that I want to go with on the startup is something like this. It just goes like that. I'll probably have to do that if there's then connecting something to a space, and that is, just the possibilities of the alphabet to get to this one, probably. But it has to be like that to the actual thing, because it's a reader. So that would be, if I could figure out a fix, it would look like that. We'll call this note. It probably doesn't want to be. We'll save this one as note card AIE. And then the ice cube. Or maybe documents, because there's a document. You could save a password if you really felt. That's just an observation. That's cool. And see how when the AI reads it, but we don't really want, well, it's an adjustment. So pretty much my theory is that you walk through enough of these standard block gates of what is proven, then it'll fix it. But if not, the rendezvous is Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon. I usually use the first gen, and then League of Legends is kind of more based on Pantheon, and then on setting up at that I'm using more of like, that would be considered what my person, and then I would bring that back to some of the conceptual designs. This one is tainting my duelist on the battlefield. Same battlefield. The Ruby, the Lionsgate, closed it. So they're doing different techniques and slowly tried to learn it. Is there anything else we need to learn? And then what would this be called? So we're working on some different servers, on how it is, found some things, whether you liked it or not, and then admitted that you don't feel all too well. No action camera, maybe I've overspent a little bit. And then, see, like, in NFT farm, do you see how they have different sizes to the acres for their thing? We want, well, I want, and this to be like this, and overall as a goal, to be the equal shares of what you would say percent-wise. See, so somebody challenging what the Sapphire, using blocks as a different way to create that will more medallion some of these virtues along with those cards. And so it's like some of like the best stuff and ending content. But I can really tell that the stock market is really wounded. Like these are points where people who did the correct thing already don't feel interested, and then people in observation see that already. So it's strange. It's defense and mode and a attack mode, and some of these advanced viewpoints. Then we'll create those. So maybe we won't know how to start a conversation, and then we have to put a square in the bracket in front of us. So I'm doing that. Oh, Naruto, that's the one I really like. So I'm gonna use myself and pretend that I'm like Ken from Superman. And then I'm gonna use my basic things to really monitor to avoid parentheses and recreate a really good structure. So close. This is the standard of one, or a legionnaire, a unit within. Yeah, I've already said things that, but those closed doors to that, and then really I just feel that people who have used those things prior, like that would do that, and then else I really associate this with negativeness. I mean, you've already succeeded if I already exceeded and people are acting in mass hysteria, the concept of what the sound was to how I angled the pieces is not perfect. Gotta redesign. Alright, this meeting is over for Capital Failure Family. And we'll think of some other stuff. If you're already doing good in my theory of what was on the press, then maybe you have already been alright. But wholesale material is always a great one to do. Heating oil is doing great. So imagine that some of these like basic human essentials and always going low. Junk. I mean, wow, we always end into this rotunda, but wholesale material, not even sale material sometimes if it's that bad. Depends on your health. I wonder if silks, I'm not gonna taint it, is going to be attached with a really, like, a real horse, because that's $1,000. Looking forward to hearing some of these note cards, and if anybody is going to eat me alive like purple or from yellow, then I use that as a metric. Do you ever feel that you can't get the adjustment on, let's say if somebody runs a algorithm on the color, well, like, what is it? They use a algorithm for blue and red to measure what's down on the tick, then it can be like negatively inducted. So, and it's not even like off to prove something. Wow, dude, somehow like I entered the gateway that already destroyed it. Pretty much it's like that the device has a downward trend and it was not successful in doing it even though I copied someone word for word on all of their code and I didn't take it and I accredited them and it's already through them that they would say that unless the altruist camp on what I tried to make a claim in a non-existent court was already on the like exemptions of them trying to work with somebody to say that I was doing something for research of what I really paid, and they were really targeting things that like if you pay for research for this or what, or it's kind of like if you're utilizing something, then they probably want it in like a square on a note card that if you use this, then you have to acknowledge the royalties on the card. So I think that is kind of what was being hostage there. But oh my. And then that switch was just recent. If I could think anything else. I'm content with what that is, and I've had different like spiritual senses of what is more or less, all by somebody choosing to already act out who already acts out, putting anybody on protocol in danger. Yeah, right. You know, if it was the point of somebody saying it to somebody, then it's always going to be pointed to somebody who did not successfully say that to me to be the enabler for those things to happen. Anyways, I could talk for hours and hours about how like the injustice of that, but pretty much the off chord of me existing and me not existing to how they exist to themselves is already inaccurate for said orange. So I think that the person that was that person not only is a duplicate for what that they are, but that they don't really do it for you because it's just that they had a stick up or something. But if you're saying something to me, I know that I benefit from myself. So when I see the other thing there, and it's there, it's being worked on, and I'm not leaving it like complete trash. More like that the vibration of somebody is saying that to my job is the last thing you said was that you're ungrateful and wanted to put in a piece of what you said. And I need a worse job to show the benefits of the night as well. It's really disappointed and was really not happy about how somebody chose to go about that. And it was already like that to what I wanted to do is make it so that this detector is like just just that, but I want to see it. So pretty much you just have to add a different screen. So in pretend thing, if I'm adding for something and then I think I'm a cliche for being whatever that I said to whatever that makes that you feel better for what you said about that is your own design. But when people is like you really have an explanation for what you said, but that person you're whatever, you're like a pretend statesperson. You're enabling this identity of a statesperson in Detroit when Detroit is annoying, and then you're like a relative of the family that's annoying, and then you just sit there and wait for whatever. A solicitor thinks that they're. And I'm like my last door of what I think of my identity, and then it's that them like two people, it feels like, or that the Y on the observation of me. So there's a Y, and then the near road right here is being hijacked. So maybe if there's like the change of the degrees of how control is seen, then that's kind of best. It's not essential because you're alive and you're not like whatever you would think, and you're in defense position or stance, and as long as things don't bug a person, treat yourself like an antibody, and you'll be alright. Alright, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Thank you for watching. I was really mad at myself for how red that was. Red as in the origin story. So we're taking this to the Vietnam War story and then dissecting that. So pretty much this idea that, on intel of thinking that you would toss an area is kind of inaccurate, because it's actually the the emirate of like Cambodia, Laos, and all those ones is as large as the southern half, the half of Africa, or in comparison to Mexico. The curvature on the sea area between islands is like Mexico to that, and yeah, there's just a lot of things supporting a victory, like the monsoon's water rushes to the west. This is how in war that could do bad, because the Egypt thing right there at that sand, the sand going east can cause that biblical madness on that, the whatever Taliban 3 is pretty much a energy source. Let's just say it. The locusts are that the sands right there, and then I prefer that area right there. It's not what I said. So yeah, pretty much you can't really sabotage that area that well. I'm just saying historically as I'm uncovering each object on the possibilities of what happened. How does the leader story go that and with relics and history? Who is this, like, Dominitria of what she thinks? Is she, like, on her own as this state one? I mean, man, maybe your coach or team observed that, and on the layer of what I'm reading on my stethoscope, she was already bugging you at first, but it's like reborn, and that's your ally on your axis or Pantheon, which I already know. I mean, I'm the one controlling my own body, and I'm the one who set everything for myself. Imagine that. Imagine you're not a contributor to one of the actions so much. I need that orange one to quit. She is not smarter than you. How can somebody have difficulty talking about relics in their own homelands in America? Use Sapphire to make fun of the irony of whatever that is there. They're holistic with their concerns of, well, this is somebody with data who's intrepid of data that I would not use against myself. This person is an enemy neuroed alias, and I will find them, and I will defend myself. There's no way what you're doing is worth it if something's not worth it to see it for me. Do you understand Capital Failure Family was your enabling energy and that you're gonna quack for all you want, but the moment that you say your name, that I influence your life? What is the identity of 69? The identity is that she got caught by 8 um, at a van. That's the rumor. And the one that you see doesn't know that red plus blue equals purple. There's an incandescent light. It's like a light that you buy it to a person, as in buy it. It's purple, and it lights up, and it's iridescent. I don't care. You copped out. Why do I care about saying your name? Where is the poison control on that? Alright, good try, but I still am a gem. Alright, bye.